Did you guys happen to see the video that Pheonix did with her dad on Facebook?
It went viral. Of course we saw it.
Knock it off. Knock it off. I watched it this morning on Facebook and I'm like, I'm not crying, you're crying. So this is the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Radiothon on the Bert Show. And we have been talking about Children's Healthcare of Atlanta and just how special a place this is. Now, we know that because we've been guests here more than anything else. I've had a kid that my own child has had to be in there, but just for a couple of hours. But we spend a goodly amount of time at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta and with our Bert's Big Adventure kids. And what a blessing that this place is in our very own backyard. And we're going to start continuing to introduce you guys to families that can speak way more about the experience at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta than we can.
Yeah, we call this our Making Miracles Radiothon because that's exactly what Children's Healthcare of Atlanta does. They make miracles, and we get to talk to these miracles throughout the morning. And we have one right here with us, which is Pheonix and her mom, Christina. How are you doing today?
We're good.
Good. So tell us a little bit about Pheonix and what she was diagnosed with.
Well, she was diagnosed in 2018.
She was 2 then, right?
Yes.
And she's 5. Am I doing the math right?
You are. She's 5 now.
Right. Basic math that I was going to mess up, but I panicked. Yeah. She sure looks healthy.
Uh-huh.
She is doing great. She's still cancer-free, so
awesome.
That is but yes, she was diagnosed in August of 2018. We were diagnosed and put inpatient in like 8 hours of time period. So it was a lot to process in one day.
And what exactly was she diagnosed with?
She was first diagnosed with AML, but after further testing, she actually had a more rare cancer called JMML.
And parents always wonder, like, what was going on with Pheonix that you were like, yeah, we need to get to the doctor and we need to talk to somebody because something's off here.
Yeah, that is asked a lot. But hers was kind of different. I have 5 kids. So, I've been raising kids for a very long time. And before that, I was a nanny for a very long time. So I just noticed, her compared to the other kids, she was getting more tired quicker. She slept longer. She also had a few things like when she was in utero with her biological mom that I thought had made her develop an autoimmune disease. And that's what I was pushing for. I had no idea that it would be what it came out to be. But no doctor would listen to me. We had to change doctors 4 times before a doctor would actually listen because she really wasn't symptomatic. It was just me and my gut feeling and just saying like, something is just off. I just noticed something is off. And so finally she got a cold and this doctor was like, I understand what you're saying. We're going to wait for her to get another, because she would get colds all the time and just keep them for like 3-4 weeks. And so she finally got another cold and they started doing like shot antibiotics on her and nothing would change in her blood work. So that's when they finally referred us to the Aflac Blood Clinic in Atlanta.
You said you have 5 children, but was this the first time that you had ever been inside of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta?
No, I only go there for ER. Like that's the only ER I take my children to. But other than like ER visits, yes, that was the first time I had ever
extended stay. So tell us a little bit about your experience at the hospital, because as we've said year in and year out, what makes this place so great is that it doesn't feel like an adult hospital. It feels so welcoming for kids, no matter what kind of crisis we're talking about. I think it puts kids' minds at ease and the staff just goes over the top to make you feel like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. Like I said, we had 4 other kids to figure out at home. We live over an hour away. So we drove home from that appointment and packed our bags and went straight back. We checked in and we didn't leave for a month after that. But that first night, one of my really close friends now, she was our first nurse. Her name was Annabeth. She no longer works at that hospital. She's at a children's hospital in Orlando now. But I was a literal mess.
I bet.
A mess. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't think straight. I couldn't process. I couldn't sleep. And we got there at night shift, so I knew I had her for, an extended period of time. So I just asked question after question, and I wasn't always the nicest, but they were very patient with me. It's just very confusing, and you keep like asking yourself, like, how did this happen to my child? Like, how is this happening? And I had a lot of health questions, and basically, like, throughout my time there, we created this
Yeah.
binder.
Wow.
Wow.
Whoa.
That is a binder.
It's a huge binder.
And
Yeah.
they would just print out everything that anything that I asked, they would print out, and she comforted me. She hugged me. This was also pre-COVID. But she was literally an angel sent to us that night. I would not have made it without, we eventually established a full nurse team. In those situations, you're allowed to choose your nurses. You create a team. So we had this phenomenal team that I consider our family, and we visit anytime we have the chance to go.
Well,
I know that you mentioned that you were so close to the nurses that they're like family to you now. And I was just curious, what was some of the things that the doctors and the nurses did to support for that to happen?
Everything. I mean, they will come in. I was very, I'm very like a guarded, protective mom. And eventually they grew to give me this trust within them, like that they were my friends and they were my family. That one night, I think I had just had enough. I had been there. We were there from August to almost January. And once she got to the bone marrow transplant floor, you're locked on that floor. She's not allowed to leave that floor for anything, not to go to the gardens, not to go to the cafeteria, nothing. You're locked on that floor. And I think it just got to be too much. And, Sherry, another nurse that's phenomenal, she came in and she was like, Christina, go outside, like, go sit outside, go to the sun. You have not seen the sun in I don't know how many days. Like, you have to take a break for yourself. And, just in that moment, like her seeing me as a mom and like protective and, all of those things, it just felt like so reassuring that I had these people there for me, for her, to be that equal amount that I would be if I wasn't standing there. And they loved her.
When you recount it the way you are, and we can hear you getting emotional, what is the emotional connected to? Just the overall experience and the fear?
It's everything. It's emotions that you don't really think about until you're in that place and watching, these drugs essentially go into your child's body, and then somebody else's blood going into your child's body. Like, it's just things you really just don't think of in childhood until it happens. But these people, they know this. They do this on the daily. They are literally there watching these families go through this every single day. I don't know how they do it, honestly, but they do, and they are phenomenal at what they do. And I will never be able to repay them for what they gave us during that stay, ever. But I do love them. I keep up with them. One of our nurses actually went on our wish trip with us. Like, I love them all.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of the emotion. I mean, obviously in the beginning, it's the fear of the unknown and what you're dealing with, but it just sounds like a lot of the emotion now is coming from the love from the nurses and the staff there to make sure you guys were well taken care of. And for those that don't know about the Aflac Cancer Center, it's one of the largest childhood cancer and blood disorder centers in the country. It's ranked number 6 in the country. So again, to have this in our backyard is absolutely huge. And all the money you're donating is going directly to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta facilities. Also, it's one of the largest clinical trial programs in the country. So they are coming up with the latest treatments to make sure patients like Pheonix get the best, because we can see so many of these treatments can be so harsh on their bodies, but there are advancements being made. So not only can it cure the cancer, but give them even better longevity and no long-term effects.
I consider, and I've considered this always since we've done this, is your donation is putting some cash into the karma bucket. Hopefully you never have to go through the same thing that this family does. Hopefully you never have to learn about the terms that this family has to know about. But reality is reality. If it happens, you want to know that you're going to get the best care and the safest care in the country. And like Kristen said, it's right down the street from us. Davi?
I was actually going to ask if Christina wanted to give a shout out to any specific nurses that touch the family, but you already gave Sherry the shout out. I do think it's so cool, like Kristen mentioned, the Aflac Cancer Center. It's so important for them that they have this family support team, because on top of seeing someone else's blood going to your kids and all these medications take hold over your kids, like it puts you in a mindset, and they like the kids are priority, but the parents are also a thought, which is awesome. It's children's healthcare, but they also care about your mindset. So they got, school programs and music therapy and therapy dogs and all of this stuff to just make the transition easier. And I think that's so awesome. But now that Pheonix's future is so bright, you got to wear shades. I'm wondering, what do you hope to see Pheonix accomplish in the future?
Oh gosh, she is literally the strongest kid I've ever met in my life. There's a lot of things that go into when kids go through this, and the challenges it does put them in for the future. As parents, you have to think about that as you're signing these things away, that can or might happen to them. It's hard to get that out of your mind as a parent, but you watch her every day. She has no clue, and she is just, she's wild. She's crazy. She loves soccer. She does gymnastics.
Is she still dancing?
Yeah.
She's doing gymnastics
right now.
Yeah.
Yoga.
Doing a backflip over mom.
Adorable. Maddie joins us again. She's the program coordinator for Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. All right. So, Maddie, we can talk about it and we can ask for sending dollars, but when it comes directly from you and you have that experience every single day, I think it's even more powerful. So do you have the phone number and how people can go ahead and they can donate immediately right now?
I do. You can call 1-866-781-8811 or text MIRACLE to 64636.
All right. Again, that's Miracle to 64636 and the phone number 1-866-781-8811. Thank you guys for your time. We're going to raise a whole bunch of money. So if there's any kid that has to go to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta and deal with the same thing you guys do, they'll get the exact same care that you got.
Thank you so much.
All right, it's the Bert Show and Making Miracles Radiothon at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
The Bert Show.